What's up, Steeples? We secured the top 8 spots, so now we get into the draft. I'm going to go over exactly what I drafted and what the draft deck looks like. Let's get right to it. All right, this is the draft pool. This was my Dash draft pool. I was the only Dash in the draft. To my right was a Teklovastin. To my left was a Max Nitro. So I was in a very well position. Also, just being the only Dash, obviously I was in a well position to be Dash. But even if there was another Dash around, I was not going to be competing over items with that Dash because of where I was. Now, I'm just going to go over the draft and what happened, where my mindset was, and what led to this pool here. My pack one pick one was a red Big Bertha here. This I picked because it's just a generically very good card. If you're playing Teklovastin, it's a 3 for 6. If you're playing Max Nitro, it has boost as well as works with hyperdrivers, and it's probably the least effective in Dash, but again, just a 3 for 6 that can boost to give you an extra action point. It's always not bad. So this was the pack one pick one. I felt pretty good with that. I don't have my second pick on me because it was the Cogworks chess piece. I don't have the equipment out right now. I ended up getting the Cogworks chess piece and the arms, the arms that can block for 1. Those were my only 2 equipment that I ended up drafting. But yeah, I got the chess piece second, and then third was a red scrap harvester. So still, I was like, okay, it could be Teklovastin. However, I noticed I didn't see any Evos equipment, so I figured if I didn't see any in the next 2, that Teklovastin was going to be out. I got a yellow hydraulic press on the 4th, and then the 5th was actually a boom grenade red. And so I was like, okay, Teklovastin is not going to be available to me. Instead, let me try, being either Dash or Max Nitro. Next up was a Megahertz script that got passed. And now I'm thinking, I have a red scrap harvester. I have some items already. I have a hydraulic press. This could be a Dash, but I was still open to Max Nitro. I think my next one was Infused Alloy, as there wasn't really any red boost cards. And now I'm starting to feel more into Dash. And then I believe it was a mini force. No, I don't think it was a mini force field. Actually, it was Hyper Scrapper. Hyper Scrapper coming to me just made me really feel like, okay, Dash is a thing. And then I think it was Steam Canister after that. So once I picked the Hyperdriver, and that was the first time I decided, okay, I am going to play Dash. And then the next pick being Steam Canister was just the solidifier. It was okay, I made the right decision. I'm definitely playing Dash. This is who I am going to end up being, because it's clearly I'm getting a ton of items right now. By the end of the round of draft, the first round of draft, I counted up my items and I counted up my just attack action cards, my boosters, or just general attack action cards, and I had 7 items and I had 7 attack action cards. And so I was a little bit item heavy in the beginning, but there was a reason I did this, and the reason why is because I actually passed a microhertz script pretty early on. I passed it when I chose the Big Bertha. I thought Big Bertha was just gonna give me more range with all heroes, where microhertz script is good in Max and in Dash, but yeah, that's really all I saw that. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna choose that card. And so I was a little worried that my neighbor to my left would be choosing Dash. And so I wanted to make sure to get a lot of items in the first round, just in case, to do 2 things. Because 1, I wanted to deter my neighbor to my left from being Dash. I didn't want to compete with my neighbor. The other thing is that in case my neighbor is still stuck with Dash, I wanted to have enough items in pack 1, because I didn't expect to see a lot of items coming in pack 2, because they would pick the items first. So I was a little fearful of that, and that's why I ended up picking quite a bit of items, and ended up going like I said, 7 items in the first pack. Now a judge came around and actually looked at our first 5 picks and confirmed that my neighbor to my left, the one I was passing to, was at first dash and then switch to max nitro. So it did force them to switch, which was good for both of us. We weren't going to be in each other's lane at that point, so that worked out very well. Now, on the second pack, because there was no other dashes in the pod, I was still past a ton of items. I was past a lot of boom grenades that I ended up taking. I think my pack 2 pick one was a red hydraulic press here. Yeah, just passed a lot of boom grenades, and I ended up just picking more items than I really needed. By the end of that, I had a total of 12 items, and then like the rest were just attack actions. And so by the end of pack 2, I basically had all the items I needed, which was a little scary because I don't want over 13 items. That's like the sweet range. I don't want it to draw so many items in one hand, so I want just about 13, and then we'll call it good. So I was a little worried into pack 3 that I needed to like draft basically non-items, and I was just hoping to get good red boost cards. And that happened, but then the good red boost cards just dried up, and it became just because again, the only dash, I got past another steam canister, and just a scrap hopper. I mean, it was just stuff where it's just like, okay, I guess I'm getting more items, like mini force fields, another one. More boom grenades came in the last one. I don't understand that, because boom grenade is actually really good in max nitro, so I'm not sure why I got so many boom grenades, but so be it. But yeah, so that's what happened. I ended up drafting more items than I particularly wanted. But when you look at it all, they are all the good items. I think if I could go back, I would maybe not choose the 2 first red mini force fields. Maybe chose an attack action instead. So that I would only end up with 2, because that's about all I really want is dash. Maybe 3, but 2 is fine. These were just like the last picks. Grinding Gear is the last pick in the last pack, so I definitely weren't picking these. Yeah, these were just like the last picks of the pack, so these don't really count because there wasn't a decision to be made. I think I'm fine keeping the boom grenades. I honestly like boom grenades so much that I want to keep them all. So I'm fine with that. I might just have trimmed down the Hydron Colliders. I actually, like I mentioned before, I passed a microhertz script early, and I ended up passing another one on the 3rd pack just because I was like, I can't take items. So it was kind of crazy that there was 4 microhertz script in that draft. I think this is about where I want to be though, honestly, is like have all these boom grenades, these items, and these. And then I think that is a good item range. Let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Exactly where I want it to be. This would be 14, 15. But unfortunately, this was 16, 17. So just under half the deck. Actually, I think because of draft, I think it ended up being half the deck was items. So not the worst, as long as I can be able to play them effectively. I do have like great bombs, like Hyper Scrapper can just come in for big, like, I mean, essentially could be a 17 damage card, right? Just needs to banish that many cards, and then I need to pay for that as well. So probably not 17, but this can be just a big attack. However, so I had that, I had some good scrap harvesters here, some reds and yellows. There was okay boost cards, wish there was a little bit more, but whatever. Scrap Harvester and Scrap Prospector, decent. Scrap Harvester is a little bit better. I got a few of I didn't get any red soup ups, unfortunately. Hydraulic Presses, very good card. No backup protocols. I ended up passing those just because I knew I was getting too heavy on the items, so I had to get more attack action. So unfortunately, I had to pass some of those up. But I felt very good with how a lot of this turned out. Just a little bit, like I mentioned before, if I took these out and replaced them with attacks, I think this becomes like a top tier deck for sure. Like that, it feels like this. I'm just hella chilling. But again,
Not enough items. Now, there ended up being 4 Maxes, 3 Teklovosins, and I'm the only Dash. I would have loved to face a Teklovosin first round because I feel like this deck can actually handle a Teklovosin very, very well. In fact, I think it can prey upon Teklovosins. However, I did get a Max the first round. And I think I'm not out of it. You know, Max is just the traditional bad matchup for Dash, but I don't think I'm out of it. I have a lot of good cards. I just have to kind of play very aggressively and very tightly. However, I was a higher seed, so I had him go first because I had the option to play an item from the top of my deck on his turn. My hope was he would boost once and then either just make a hyperdriver, not cranking it, or crank a hyperdriver attack with the wrench and, you know, have a hyperdriver's return and an arsenal. That was my hope. However, I ended up putting this card in and like taking out, I think it might be this yellow Hydron Collider, just to have a blue that blocked. So took him out. My first hand, I kid you not, was this. This is my opener hand. 3 red boom grenades and a blue recharge, and infused titanium was on top of the deck. So it wasn't a great opener because it just, as you can see, didn't block at all. So once he came in with a 4 attack boost and saw that blocked like this, he knew that I didn't block for 3, so I'm probably, so he decided to come in boost again and then come in with the wrench after hyperdriving, and I couldn't take it, so, or I couldn't block it, so I ended up taking 15, or not 15, I ended up going to 13 and took 5 damage off the very first turn, and he had all the stuff he needed. From there, it was kind of nice because, I mean, it wasn't nice, but it was, you know, I was able to get in the block. I cranked this down, brought in infused titanium, which basically means give me 3 cards. But I kid you not, it was just, I guess I poorly shuffled. I must have done something really bad here. But my next hand was this. So again, 3 items, 1 card, and I just couldn't block because I needed to boost, to just do something. So that's really where I was, and yeah, that's how the game went. I did end up getting another 1, snuck in, like played a boom grenade, cranked in, and snuck in another 1 with a hydraulic press. So I think I snuck in a blue boom grenade after cranking a red 1, so got an extra 6 damage in out of nowhere and put him down to 1. But then he played an overload script and I just couldn't block him out. I was already pretty low. So that is how the game went, and this is kind of the lesson to learn here, is that you really do want to try to hit that sweet range, you know, 10 to 13 items. I think 13 is actually probably the best number, because you don't want 3 items in your hand. 2 items in your hand is fine. Ideal is just 1 item in your hand, so that you can never like get like totally lost without being able to block, and you know, you'll have enough items that you can play it from the top of your deck. So this is the lesson to be learned here from my draft, is just be careful with your items. I do think this deck could have actually done it had I not drawn these type of hands. Of course, that is, you know, the case if I have that many items. So I did run 30. See, I only didn't run 3 cards, so I think I ran about 33, 34. I could have took a few items out, but I don't know. Even Max can fatigue you, so yeah, you have to play cautiously on that. In this, you can still get fatigued for sure. So, but yeah, that was the draft here. I think this deck is actually really good. Like I said, I think it can prey on Teklovosin. Just wasn't in the cards, so I did lose my first round. Unfortunately, in the top 8, that it's a, you know, lose and you're done. But I am very curious, had I been able to play a few more games, you know, where this deck would lie. Would I still have those, you know, triple item hand problems, or would they split up a little bit more so that I could do a little bit more and, like, you know, really unleash this Dash deck? Because I actually think this deck is actually really solid. So kind of keep that in mind. I think what really helped here is that I was playing with good drafters. My neighbor to my left, I know they draft all the damn time, so they really like to draft. So they knew that they could switch, right? They didn't stick with Dash. So it really helped that they were able to switch, and with that in mind, I think I made the right choice to pick a lot of items, but I was the only Dash, so all the items just came to me, and all the other boost cards just got taken up. And that's just how it goes sometimes, I suppose. But maybe in a more balanced pod where it's like 3-3-2 for the hero split up, maybe then it's a little easier to not end up with so much items. But either way, I quite enjoyed this deck. I think I just wish I could play with it a little longer. But that's how my Dash deck was drafted. Feel very good with this. I hope you learned something from this at the very least. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. Keep on padding.
Do you like this shirt? Well, you can get them at fleshandbaubles.com. You can even use our promo code SNEEP for 15% off your entire order. They got shirts, they got keychains, and they got more to come. So check them out, fleshandbaubles.com. Let's get back to the video.